If you want to be successful over a long period of time, I believe you need to focus, first of all, on creating value for others.
If you don't develop your capabilities and realize your potential, you may be successful externally, but you will be deeply unhappy because you're not fulfilling your gifts, your nature. You say, okay, I'm good at certain things and I'm not good at others. And if I want to contribute, I can't be doing it all, or I'll make a mess of it. So I've got to go partner with people.
Need motivation?
Watch Top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like 9 to 9. For my top 10, top 10, 9 to 9. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because you are probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Charles Koch, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, create value.
If you want to make a quick buck, you can do it a lot of different ways. You can cheat somebody, you can misrepresent something, you can go manipulate the political system to get an advantage. But if you want to be successful over a long period of time, I believe you need to focus, first of all, on creating value for others. And I've had people, well, that's naive, that's utopian. No, it isn't, because why will the customers want to pay you anything over a long period unless you're creating value for them? Why would your employees want to work for you? Or if they didn't have any alternative, why do they want to give their best efforts? Why do they want to get excited? Why would they wake up at night with ideas? If you're in a community, a plant in a community, unless you're creating value for that community, why would the community want you there if you're polluting and hurting people and not contributing anything to the community? So long-term success starts with being dedicated to creating value for others. It's not altruism. It's my whole philosophy is to have a system of mutual benefit where both parties gain, a society based on win-win.
Rule number 2, fulfill your potential.
If you don't develop your capabilities and realize your potential, you may be successful externally, but you will be deeply unhappy because you're not fulfilling your gifts, your nature. And so the way that's done is bottom up. Each person discovering their gift, turning it into valued skills, and then using it to succeed by contributing.
Rule number 3, please yourself.
How do you stay humble when you've accumulated so much wealth and built a company with 130,000 employees around the world? How do you do that?
Well, I'm like Martin Luther. Here I stand, I can do no other. To me, the first person you've got to please is yourself. And all this external stuff, oh, you had all this money, you've accomplished all this. Well, big deal.
Right.
What I'm interested in is what I'm going to accomplish tomorrow. Am I going to help somebody tomorrow? It's what Maslow said, is that to self-actualize, there has to be synergy, a merger of the selfish and unselfish. That is, I'm going to dedicate my life to helping others improve theirs, but I'm going to focus people on where there's a spirit of mutual benefit. And it may just be my own self-worth that's benefiting, but that's all I need now. I don't need more money or anything. I need money to better help people become empowered. So that's how I use it. Look, all the criticism I get, you think I'm doing all this stuff? so I can get praise. Well, I found it doesn't get you praise. People are threatened by it, or they're envious, or whatever. All you get is more attacks. But we're also finding, as people learn, this works. And if they do it, they feel better about themselves and they have a better life. It's what Viktor Frankl said. Ever more people have the means to live, but no meaning to live for. Or Bob Dylan said, those not busy being born are busy dying. So if you're just sitting around counting your money, I mean, what's that about? That's not a lie.
Rule number 4, be open to change.
What advice would you have for managers or companies that are really working through change and struggling?
Let me define creative destruction, or I will use Schumpeter's definition. Here's the way he put it. It is not price and output competition which counts, but the competition from the new product, the new technology, the new source of supply, the new type of organization which commands a decisive cost or quality advantage and which strikes not at the margins of the profits and the outputs, but at their foundations and their very lives. So that's what we're talking about here. This is not life or death for us individually, but life and death for our businesses and our jobs. And so what we do to communicate this is get all our employees to understand that change is a risk for all of us. But not changing isn't a risk, it's suicide. It is a certainty that you are going out of business, and you are going to, if you're an individual employee, if you're not changing and improving and working on that every day, you're not going to have your job. Whereas if you take what you think are risks and you find a way to eliminate most of your job, because there's a way to do this more efficiently or to bypass, do it a completely different way. Here at Koch, you're not going to lose your job. You're going to be a hero.
Also, if you want to have more self-belief and more self-confidence, I have designed a free training program just for you, where every day for the next 254 days, I'll send you an email with an unlisted video to help you boost your confidence. The science says it can take up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a habit, and so I want you to build the habit of self-belief and self-confidence. It's 100% free. The link to join is in the description below.
When you have the level of success that we've had, when you have a business that's important as this with this many competitors, you're going to have people saying some nasty things.
Before we were able to get the Roadster out, then they'd say, well, you couldn't possibly make that car work.
If you didn't give a shit what anybody else thought, what's the thing you would love to be doing with your life?
Rule number 5, learn to work productively.
I discovered at an early age, I didn't think I was much good at anything. But my father did me a big favor. He had me working in all my spare time from the time I was 6, because he announced he didn't want his sons to be country club bums. He wanted us to feel grateful for everything and entitled to nothing. And for whatever reason.
And when you say working, he didn't give you some cushy office job in the company.
No, not particularly at age 6. I started out digging dandelions, and when I say dig dandelions, you don't pull them out. You dig down, and you have to get the entire root, or they'll come right back. And I remember there was a club and a swimming pool across the street from us, and I'm out there in 105-degree heat digging these, and I could hear my friends, my little 6-year-old friends, they're swimming and jumping off the diving board, and I could recognize each one's squeal was different of joy. And I'm thinking, why does my father hate me and their fathers love them? I found out that if you don't, and then I, of course, graduated to shoveling out stalls and milking cows. And that doesn't sound like much work, but it's hard work. So I would milk cows before school, and then again after school, milk our cows, and digging post holes and all these things. But I discovered that much later that if you don't learn to do dirty jobs, if you don't learn unpleasant work, you, by the time you're in your 30s, you never learn to work productively. And so he was doing me a huge favor. So it was beyond the work ethic. It taught you how to work productively and how to work with others in mutual benefit. For example, if a group of you are doing a dirty job, you don't try to stick it to them, make them do more, then they'll try to do it to you, and the work goes on and on. You want to work together to get it done as efficiently as possible. You want to understand who your customer is. What does my customer want? What does he value? I better do this the right way or I'll have to do it again.
Rule number 6, empower others.
What does it mean to kind of set your employees free to figure out what to do?
The first job of every supervisor is to enable their reports, their employees to self-actualize. And what that means is to work with employees to find what gifts they have, what they'll be passionate about, and then rather than stick them in a role, most of which they aren't good at, design the roles to fit the capabilities of the employees, and then give them the tools. And with the technology today, for example, we've invested in nearly $30 billion in technology within the last decade. And we use this technology not to control our employees, but to empower them.
Rule number 7, partner with the right people.
This is another thing I studied, multiple intelligence theory, that we have these discrete intelligence there, which I don't agree quite the way it was written, but there was an element of truth in it. Mm-hmm. And so if you realize that, then you say, okay, I'm good at certain things and I'm not good at others. And if I want to contribute, I can't be doing it all, or I'll make a mess of it. So I've got to go partner with people. And whenever I found the right partners who were good at all the other things that needed to be done that I wasn't, then I've succeeded. And when I haven't had good partners that I've tried to do myself, I've failed.
Rule number 8, embrace the challenge culture.
I also learned from Karl Popper that the scientific method is to articulate a theory that's refutable,
right,
and then to spend as much time trying to disprove it as prove it. And he goes through what societies have done that and which ones, and those who apply this method, that is free societies, are those that progress, and others like communist societies who have what's politically correct and don't allow other ideas to compete with it, don't progress because they go down the wrong track. So I said, okay, we need this kind of challenge culture, this skepticism in our company. And so we're going to build a culture of challenge. That is, if you're a supervisor at any level and your people don't challenge you, you've got to change your ways, or you can't be a supervisor because you're not using the ideas of your people. You're not building a republic of science. And if you're an employee and you don't challenge your supervisor, then you're not doing your job. Why don't we get another computer or a robot or something to do it, because you're not using your brain.
Rule number 9, think long term.
What are the things you think about that make companies successful in this type of environment versus those that struggle?
Well, I think it starts with us having a long-term view rather than a short-term view, and always thinking of how we can be successful long-term by creating value for others, starting with our customers and employees. And so when we look at it that way, there's always uncertainty. So it starts with being prepared with that and recognizing that the future is unknown and unknowable. So the way we have prepared ourselves for that is focusing on building capabilities that will make us successful under a whole variety of conditions, which means having more flexibility, more optionality, more diversity, And so those are the things that we've always tried to do. And so the starting point is building capabilities that will enable us to create value with others, starting with our customers. And then finding the opportunities or the sets of customers for whom we can create the most value. And then as we do, not resting on our laurels, but recognizing the future is going to be different than the past, then continually improving and adding to those capabilities. And as we do, then we say, oh, with those capabilities, we can now pursue additional opportunities. And then as we start pursuing those opportunities, we realize, well, we need additional capabilities. So we add still more capabilities. So this creates what I've called a virtuous cycle of mutual benefit, where it's continual improvement and growth and diversity, which is a way is the way to deal with Schumpeter's what he called creative destruction.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is embrace failure.
What's one of the biggest kind of signature mistakes that you made as the head of Koch Industries?
Well, I look at it as I follow the Stoic philosophy. That is, grateful for everything and entitled to nothing. And this is consistent with Thomas Edison's philosophy. You remember when he had he tried all these things to make a new battery, 9,000 things that didn't work. And his friend said, well, God, I'm sorry you had all these failures. He said, I haven't had any failures. I've found 9,000 things that don't work. And I look at our failures, and that's what's made us successful.
Yeah. So what's a big one?
And if you're not, the only way you can never make a mistake or never have a failure if you don't try anything new. And guess what that means? You have total failure because you're going out of business given the process of creative destruction that's going on at light speed pace today. So we're ramping it up. So we're driving more creative destruction. And what we tell every employee, whatever you're doing, that you may be best at the world at what you're doing. Our business may be the leader in all that. It's not good enough. If we don't improve faster than others, we're going out of business. And get everybody so everybody comes to work. How do I drive innovation and find new and better ways to create more value for our customers and our other constituents?
Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're gonna enjoy, but before that, it's time for the question of the day. I wanna know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you watch something and get motivated and just get inspired, you have a 35% chance of actually following through. But when you get motivated and then you actually create an action plan for what you're gonna do, you increase it from 35% to 91% chance of you actually following through. And when you share your plan publicly, that jumps to 95% chance of following through. So I want that for you. I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Put it down in the comments below so I can celebrate you.
What are the main keys to self-actualization?
Starting with believing in yourself. And
how does someone believe in themselves when all they do is doubt all the time? They find
and that's the way I was.
Yeah.
So it took me 20 years. And that's why we wrote this book, to help it not take 20 years for people. So we need schools to be oriented. We need businesses to be oriented. And the way they do it is they have some success. Wow. And they see other people, who weren't doing well, and they got in the right role and with the right supervisor who's helping empower them. And so it's bottom-up empowerment.
Yeah.
That's what social entrepreneurship is all about, like Scott Strode, who was an addict and for 10 years. And he found by going to the gym and others there who had the problem, and they helped each other. Mm-hmm. And he says, well, I'm going to set up an organization to do this. And it's called the Phoenix. which is a good
rising
name for it.
Yeah.
It's tremendous success rate. I think it's double the success rate of any other method that we're aware of.
Wow.
For healing addiction. And it's this combination of community and mutual support. And they go on hikes, they do rock climbing together, they'll do boxing together, do gymnastics together, so that people can see they can do it.
Right.
And then there are people there to help them, not just talk about it, but do it. That's the key. And do it in a community. And then you have a support community who's really supporting you to go out and live, not just exist.
If you want 10 more rules from Jeff Bezos, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
You can always be better. Customers have a divine discontent, and they teach you if you listen to customers. When I'm 80, now 90, I want to have minimized the number of regrets